A bill which would legalise assisted dying for some terminally ill patients will be debated in the House of Lords today. The controversial proposals by the Labour peer Lord Falconer would allow doctors to prescribe a lethal dose to terminally ill patients judged to have less than 6 months to live. Some politicians and disability campaigners have raised concerns that changing the law would mean some vulnerable people feel under pressure to end their lives. Well, let's get more on this from our political correspondent Ellie Price in Westminster. So what exactly is happening today, Ellie?
Well, the bill will be debated in the Lords. It got underway at around 10 o'clock this morning. Last time it was debated back in July. It took around 10 hours. Such was the strength of feeling and the differing views among the Lords in that debate. And that's something that's reflected outside here today. You can see behind me some of the protest groups, both for and against the prospect of assisting dying. Well, joining me now is Dennis Queen, who, as you can tell probably from her T-shirt, is such a campaigner against this bill. Why are you against? This is about choice, isn't it?
Well, we're against this bill because we don't feel that the people the bill pertains to, us, we don't feel that we have fair choices at this stage. So if we had a choice of a great life instead of a terrible life, that would be a decent choice. But a choice of a terrible life or a non-life at all is not much of a choice. So what we're here to try and highlight today is that, yes, disabled people and people who are terminally ill are suffering. What we would like is people to assist us to alleviate our suffering by helping us to live better lives, not by killing us.
But what's being proposed is somebody who was terminally ill with 6 months to live could choose to end it prematurely. I think the argument, if they feel they're going to die anyway, then it's up to them how and when they do it.
Well, I think that's true to some extent, but this bill doesn't necessarily deal with that issue as such. First of all, the estimates of how long people will live are very inaccurate. So we have people in our group, for example, that weren't supposed to reach adulthood that are now pensioners. So when we start talking about someone's longevity, even when we can talk about a particular medical condition they have, it's a very inaccurate process.
I spoke to Lord Falconer earlier, who said there were plenty of clauses, though, plenty of safeguards that are going in to protect people. But you're concerned that this is open to abuse? It's
very open to abuse, and the bill that we have seen has very few safeguards in it at all. And the issue is that if people are suffering, this isn't a way to repair that suffering.
And you've got, interestingly, some of the faith groups mixed on this. You've got the current Archbishop of Canterbury opposed to the bill, a former Archbishop of Canterbury, Lord Carey, in favour. So mixed views as well as among the medical community.
I think a lot of the medical community are on our side, and the doctors who would be expected to action this bill that's being decided in the main are not behind it. So what would happen if our doctors did get control of this sort of issue is people would end up having to go and see doctors they don't know who will make massive decisions about their quality of life.
But you've got people just next to you are very much saying that, as I say, this is about choice, this is about people's individual choices. If you don't choose to do it, that's fine, but maybe they should be given the option.
I think the problem is there's a tiny percentage of people that want this choice, and what nobody seems to recognise is the majority of the same people. So I'm talking now about the people this bill pertains to. The majority of us every day fight to live. There is a very tiny percentage that wants to die. We're not saying that you cannot make a piece of legislation that is for a small percentage if they have a good cause. The problem is that small and very vocal percentage who are quite privileged are not really necessarily in the positions that the rest of the community this affects are. So we have 340,000 people living in institutions in the UK who have very little choice about their lives. What about their fair choices? What about their choice about when they get up in the morning and when they go out? If they're depressed, there's a reason why people are depressed.
Dennis Queen, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much. This bill, as I say, being debated currently in the Lords. What is interesting, I think, is that in order for it to get through into legislation, it would need to go through the Commons. We know David Cameron who says he's not convinced by the option of assisted dying. So the chances of it getting through, certainly in this Parliament, seem very slim.
OK, Ellie, thank you very much for that. Thank you.